Time was a river of sand. It swirled with grains of light, grains of silvery shadow too, all somewhat meaningless as it surrounded him, pressed in on him, even when he slept, even when he wasn't actually diving. Even now. Reed stood in a mighty crater upon a dark moon, it seemed, any ceiling or sky lost in shadow, save for the glimmering torrent of sand that poured down endlessly to the pile below. Like the peak of an hourglass, the monstrous mound of sand did not change in size or shape, nor did the sand stop. It rained down, grains escaping to hang beside the stream, a golden haze in the air. Yet every piece, every soul, still found its way to the bottom sooner or later. These were the lives that had not been recycled, for various reasons. All were stored here, waiting to be reused. Only most proved unsuitable in some manner. Many returned quickly, just as often as they were returned by reapers. These were not the kind of people, monsters, that Reed wished to meet, let alone wrangle. Yet he had no choice. Even the good ones did not provide enjoyable meetings, or maybe his heart simply wasn't large enough to cope. To care so much, so often, and so long. The elongated, floating bone beside him, not unlike a luminous fox skull, gestured to the rail and the silver thread. "This is all a little unsophisticated, isn't it?" Reed asked. Of course, like each day, the skull did not answer. But it was no empty vessel either, for it could compel him to act, and it did something to dampen the emotions. That much was clear. But even so, the souls he sought out still struck him. If the fox didn't help, I wouldn't have lasted this long. However long was. But again, measuring time was impossible. No change in light, little change in routine, just diving, chasing, retrieving, and resting. It wasn't sleep either, just a period of not diving, which he could not count. Anger had drained away, bitter regret left in its place. Returning to the world above seemed impossible, yet the tainted hope he repressed would not let him abandon the idea. Wasn't there a chance, no matter how tiny, that Max and Lena were working on something? Was Emma safe? The city itself? And the Radiant King still had to be stopped if he wasn't already loose again. The fox urged Reed forward. I know. He glanced around before he took the rope. 4 other reapers with their own glowing fox skulls approached the rails and dove, the silvery tethers bright where they spiraled down from the stories above and below. Reed took his own thread and braced himself. The silver pierced his chest, questing past his organs to lock into his spine. The thread also gave him a target, a single grain within the mountain. This time, a woman whose last 12 lives had ended in suicide. She'd appear as a bright blue grain, but like most of the others, she'd hide. For a soul like her, she'd probably run, desperate not to return, plead and beg, maybe scream. And he would have to bear it all, ignore her terror, drag her back to the world in Auntie's name.